This is important information regarding premature babies to get them on the growth charts, meet developmental milestones, not die or need wheelchairs. This is also intended for children with cerebral palsy and other neuromuscular issues. This is regarding helping them to gain muscle weight, increase muscle strength and tone, and possibly increase cognitively. Who should be watching this? Parents of premature babies, parents of children with neuromuscular issues, medical professionals helping premature babies, medical professionals helping children with neuromuscular issues, and family members who want to learn more. This is a summary of the working theory, which is correcting the micronutrient or trace mineral deficiency issues identified on page 631 in the textbook of Pediatric Gastroenterology and Nutrition causes premature babies under 1 year to quickly meet growth and developmental milestones. Furthermore, these deficiencies may actually be the cause of some cerebral palsy types, with the associated neuromuscular issues and/or brain damage a symptom instead of the precipitating cause. More importantly, in these types, low stores of trace minerals due to either prematurity, prenatal malnutrition, or maternal low stores due to prematurity, prenatal malnutrition, or absorption issues, it appears that correcting the deficiency issues results in dramatic improvement, if not complete reversal of symptoms, as well as healthy muscle weight gain and increased strength in cases of hypotonic symptoms. There are also reports of decreased hyper-spasticity in one child's hands. My name is Ida Briggs. Today is Sunday, July 29th, and I'm going to talk to you about how I learned what premature babies need to help them catch up to full-term babies in 2 to 4 months, and why it works, and how it appears to also be helping children with cerebral palsy and other neuromuscular disorders gain weight, increase muscle tone and strength. What I'm going to talk about specifically is fixing a micronutrient deficiency and what happens afterward. I'm going to talk to you about premature twins who were normal in 2 months. I'm going to talk to you about a 9-month-old who was apparently misdiagnosed with cerebral palsy. I'm also going to share with you the story about a neighbor girl who was not misdiagnosed as a 9-year-old with cerebral palsy. I'm going to tell you about more children who are getting better, and then I'm going to tell you how to do it yourself. I'm going to start with the premature babies. Everyone knows certain things about premature babies. Usually they catch up between 1 and 2 years of age. This story starts because my 4-pound premature twins were normal at 4 months actual, 2 months adjusted. I know it's hard to believe, but I have the medical records to prove it. Plus, I've got pictures. The story is going to continue with 2 children who were actively diagnosed with cerebral palsy who did something absolutely unheard of. They got better. I'm going to tell you why I think that happened and why it might work for your child as well. I am not a doctor, so you may wonder why you should be listening to me. It's a fair question, so let me be blunt. This is extremely personal for me because in February of 2007, I gave birth to 4-pound premature twins. They were 2 months early. Before I get too far into that though, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My husband and I went through 8 years of infertility treatments. I had 3 miscarriages during that period, and honestly, if the doctor said jump, I asked how high. For me, the most important thing in my world was becoming a mother. And there was nothing I wouldn't do to achieve that goal. I lost track of the number of needles that went into my body. I did acupuncture. I saw a nutrition doctor who was in charge of my prenatals, vitamins, minerals, folic acid, and zinc liver. You name it, I did it. And I got pregnant with my twins, so yay! During all those years while I was trying, I kind of had this pregnancy is going to be awesome mindset. So it was a shock when, well, it wasn't. Frankly, it was miserable. I had hyperemesis the entire pregnancy, which is nonstop vomiting, and I ended up in the hospital several times because of it. 5 months of bed rest started on my wedding anniversary in October, which also involved a trip to the emergency room, and at the end I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, which could have killed all of us. Before my twins were delivered by emergency C-section 2 months early on February 24th, 2007. But it was worth it. because I was blessed with the two most beautiful babies in the entire world. My daughter Brianna was born weighing 3 pounds, 15.6 ounces, and my son Cameron was born weighing 4 pounds, 3.5 ounces. They did not get to come home from the hospital with me. Cameron spent 13 days in the NICU, and Brianna 19. Both weighed less than 5 pounds when they were 3 weeks old. She came home on oxygen and a heart monitor, and it went off quite a bit in the beginning. For the first 2 months, they were perfectly normal preemie babies. We even had reflux issues and thrush. I had to wake them up every 3 hours to feed them, because with preemies, they aren't developed enough to know when they're hungry, and their stomachs aren't big enough to hold food for long periods. So even if they are happily sleeping at 3:30 in the morning, I had to wake them up. And trust me when I say there's nothing that makes a woman feel stupider than waking up happy, sleeping babies. I couldn't get them to latch to breastfeed, so I pumped because I knew breast milk was important, which meant my routine for those first 2 months involved pumping for up to 45 minutes, then spending about an hour and a half taking care of them and getting them back to sleep, and then using whatever remaining time was left to sleep, eat, sleep, shower, and use the bathroom. My husband was awesome, but he had to be able to function at work so we didn't end up homeless. And I was extremely foolish about not accepting help in the beginning. I had wanted them so desperately. Even thinking about complaining felt disloyal. At the end of 2 months, I couldn't do it any longer. I discovered I needed at least 4 hours of sleep a day to not be a raving lunatic. So we decided to switch them to formula, just for that little bit of extra sleep. So there I was on April 30th back in 2007, bawling my eyes out because I was a failure at the most important thing in my life, being a mom. I hadn't been able to eat right during pregnancy. I hadn't been able to keep them safe inside of me until they were full term. And now I wasn't even able, being a good enough mom, to breastfeed my children because I couldn't get them to latch. And I was just so tired. So there I am in the kitchen, bawling and praying and mixing their bottles. I'm adding the polyvisol, which for those who don't know is a liquid vitamin that you give to premature babies. And I'm also adding liquid iron because we have anemia issues. And that's when I see the bottle of liquid minerals on the counter, because I've still been taking all of my prenatal stuff while I'm doing the breast milk thing, and that's when it happened. I remembered a nutrition lecture I attended back before I got pregnant, where the doctor was talking about how important minerals are. I remember how he told a story about a man who gave trace minerals to chickens, and the chickens were 25% bigger than everybody else's chickens. The lecture had talked Dr. Tent. He asked, what does it take to grow a child? He said, it takes 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fats. That's 91 things that it takes a human to thrive. Maybe it was divine intervention. Maybe it was a combination of guilt and exhaustion. The thought flashed through my mind, well, it couldn't hurt. So I added 3 milliliters of the liquid minerals to their formula. I did this once a day, and 2 months later, I had normal babies. When I say normal, I mean normal, healthy, 14-pound, 4-month-old babies. I know this is hard to believe, so I'm going to show you again. Here's a picture of my husband when the babies were 8 days old in the NICU. And here he is again with them at 4 months actual, 2 months adjusted. Please note that they have gone from being less than 3% on the growth charts to healthy numbers, not just for their weight, but also for their length. You should have seen my pediatrician's jaw drop when I walked into their 4-month appointment. But to be honest, I was too sleep deprived to care. By 6 months old, that's 4 months adjusted, they were in the top half of the growth charts, weight and length for full-term babies. Yes, I have happy pictures of them in their Michigan outfits, but coincidentally, this picture was taken the same day Michigan lost the opening game to Appalachian State, and I think it's cute. And after that, they proceeded to meet or beat their milestones as if they had been born full-term. Now, when I show you these pictures, and they are important, it's not just because they are so adorably cute. It's because I want you to look at them and see how normal they look. I want you to see my daughter sitting up and playing with her toys, and my son standing up, Both were crawling by this point. They were 9 months actual, 7 months adjusted. If you notice the baby fat, they do not have that super skinny preemie look, and honestly, strangers couldn't tell they were preemies. Again, it wasn't just weight either. They were big in length too. And by 9 months actual, 7 months adjusted, they were top of the actual growth charts for full-term babies. They were walking at 11 months actual, which is considered 9 months adjusted. And I have never met anyone with a preemie baby born at similar weight and prematurity who has done this without supplementation. Odds are better than good that you haven't either. They were about 8 months old before I realized not everyone's babies just caught up like that. I had joined a preemie support board, and everyone else was complaining about how their babies weren't gaining weight, weren't meeting milestones, and weren't even on the growth charts. Sometimes even approaching a year old or older. So I started telling people what I had done because frankly it was easy and it was cheap. A 3-month supply of the stuff I used cost about $20 for the babies, and obviously everyone knows you need vitamins and minerals, right? It did not go over well. I was accused of hawking, told I had atrocious manners, told I'd done more harm than good. Somebody said, I just don't think I would use my child as a guinea pig, and I was told that I was giving unwanted and unsolicited advice. Nothing personal, I kind of pulled back. Finally, after one lady started talking about feeding her kid the inside of Oreos in order to help her child gain weight, and I pointed out the obvious, it's not the calories but what's in them that counts, I was nearly banned for blasphemy. Let's talk about that for a second, okay? It sounds like common sense because it is. We all know we need anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day. But if that was all that mattered, trust me when I say I would be living on the cookies, ice cream, and cake diet. It's not. We need to eat a healthy diet that includes fruit, vegetables, grains, and proteins. Why? Because we need the vitamins and the minerals in them. And every nutritionist I've spoken to agrees most of us aren't getting enough of the right foods. This is really important. So let me use an easy visual to help you remember. This is a can of Pringles. Each serving contains 150 calories. That is this many chips. But most of us can eat an entire can of Pringles, and I'm one of them, and still feel hungry afterward. It isn't the 900 calories in this can that's going to make you feel full. It's getting what your body needs. And for the record, people who need minerals usually crave salt. Eating right is something we've been hearing about for years, and there are recommended daily allowances for pregnant women for both vitamins and minerals. If you look at the list, the sources are all healthy foods, including fruits and vegetables with Cheetos and French fries, nowhere to be found.